is at various stages of decentralization, whether it is Indonesia or Nepal or any other countries. See, the respect and the sort of local, in terms of national and local policies, coordination, I mean, this was talked about before also. I just wanted to know from the presenters whether any local policies in terms of adaptation planning have really been taken in design of the national policies. Are there any successful experiences of learning from the bottom and creating a national policy to support those bottom-up efforts in any of these countries or other countries that are known? So the second point I'd like to mention about the trust funds. Now many countries in the region are, of course, with again good intention, they wanted to bring all the donors to contribute to a basket fund to talk about climate change trust fund. The climate change trust fund, despite all its good intention, it has also, there are many risks because this is only a temporary mechanism to address an issue which is currently important. But there is a tendency to become a permanent mechanism and over-dependence on external trust funds in any country. So there must be some mechanism within the national policies and regulations to reduce the dependence on such trust funds or basket funds. And sometimes this over-dependence on those trust funds can really undermine the whole national policy itself and regulatory framework. How do we really balance? Of course, the intention is good. Why we want to establish the trust fund? How do we reconcile between the two objectives of establishing a trust fund to address a key challenge without undermining the national policies and frameworks and guidelines and regulations? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can see all those problems there because I was initially responsible for setting up the world's first environmental trust fund, the Bhutan Trust Fund, and we also went through this similar growing up period, and we hope that now we can, with a new leadership, we can focus on the real, actual, how do you say, programs of that fund, the activities that the fund should be actually doing. And you're quite right mentioning about this thing that it doesn't outgrow itself and become everybody is so it's a job for everybody to manage that trust fund instead of a job looking after the countries which it's supposed to. I'm sure some of our panelists might like to respond to that. Do I have any more questions on the floor? Yes, one more. Thank you.
Yeah, just one question. I think the provocateur raised some very interesting issues. Given that Indonesia is probably one of the most advanced in developing a legal framework, I just want to know if there are lessons learned with regards to the issues the provocateur raised, definitions of climate change, adaptation, vulnerability, and how that has been, how these have been applied in the policy context. While I think the Lombok and Tarakan cases are very interesting, but I think ultimately it's about these issues which are important to develop strong and implementable policy mainstreaming frameworks. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a lady at the back. Yes, madam.
Yes, thank you. My name is Ratu Sutarto, and then I'm coming from Asian Cities Climate Change Resilience Network, Mercy Corps, Indonesia. And I am totally agree with Her Excellency Deputy Minister of the Environment about the leadership is very important in mainstreaming adaptation policies into local regulations. And what I like to comment is that we are working with Bandar Lampung and Semarang for creating a city resilience strategy, which is integrating between the CRS, city resilience strategy, into local development planning. And then what we have to identify first to mainstreaming this adaptations policy is to identify a buy-in or an intention from the local government to mainstreaming these adaptations. And then second of all is to raise a community-based vulnerability and then putting that into highlighting the core of the problem from the community, and then take that into the local development planning board to identify what is the core solutions for this. And therefore, once cities are successful in mainstreaming this, then other city will have the intention or the intentions to replicate this mainstreaming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So since I don't see any more, yes,
Simple question, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Thanks also to the provocateurs for the very provocative thoughts on this particular issue. In the Pacific, everything is related to governance, particularly also for the environment issues. And I want to ask how much weight governance is given in your mainstreaming within the countries that you represent, and also how you link the governance, the national governance, to community governance, because that was what the other person was mentioning, was raising, was that there seems to be a departure from your traditional cultural and local governance from the national governance, which is, democracy and all this foreign, first past the post and Westminster systems that we have in our countries. So how much weight do you place in that? Because it seems like success is more prevalent when you put the cultural and your own traditional governance systems in place. Thank you.
thank you very much. We have a question from the center of the floor.
Thank you, moderator. Maybe I would just like to raise some points.
Could you give me your name?
Yeah, my name is Navraj Khatioda. I'm from Nepal Development Research Institute. I would just like to raise the issue on this clarity aspect of the terms we are using, and then I would like to thank the provocator for raising that. And maybe I would just like to start with the provocator, the term itself. You mentioned that it's a gender sensitive. So if you can let us know the gender insensitive word for the provocator, that would be wonderful. Now, regarding these terminologies, I think I agree with you that there is a big chunk of confusion in the scientific community itself regarding. I have been working in the climate change for the last few months, and I am always confused with this adaptation, resilience, climate proofing, and so on. And still we have the disaster risk reduction and so on. So I mean we are confused still. I think you have mentioned the definition from UNFCCC, but sometimes we take it as a granted, and we are locked in with the definition given by UNFCCC. Now my question to you, and of course the other panelists, and including the Honorable Minister, is what is the implication of this confusion in judiciary and legislative body, particularly in making decision or when you make your delivery to the end users? And the second thing is, what do you suggest to the scientific community to put their efforts in supplying you the information which is more certain, more simple and understandable, so that it's easy in the decision making? And the third thing is, what activities do we need to refine the definition or meaning of the emerging terminologies and issues? Because